Hey, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to remind you that you are loved by God. He says, I love you up to the heavens and down to the earth. I have a feeling that you are loved more than you even know right now by a God who died to prove that love for us. But I wanted to talk to you about a lie that we believe, and that is that at one time or another, we've all felt unworthy of love. And I think there are many reasons for this. I think we all know what it's like to be rejected. Maybe for you it was a love interest and you really wanted to go out with this individual. You were really hoping they say yes for a Friday night date and they made an excuse. You weren't the one. For some it was deeper. You were in a relationship and that person did end up rejecting you in one way or another. At other times, we've wanted a job and heard we weren't the right candidate. At other times, we wanted to be part of a group and didn't make the team. We all know what it's like to be rejected, and that proves that maybe we're not worthy of love. We're not worthy of acceptance. I think another reason that we can experience this feeling, this lie, I'm not worthy of love, is because we've all gotten it wrong. We all know what it's like to feel guilty for one thing or another. I consider during the banking debacle and the housing bubble burst back in the Great Recession, there were some behind the scenes who knew they were doing underhanded things, knew that they were taking advantage of people. And some of those top bankers actually committed suicide. The overwhelming guilt was crushing, and to say, well, I'm never going to be worthy of love and acceptance, so I have the answer. I'm just not going to go on. We all know what it's like maybe to deal with that guilt. Maybe it was something to say, I'd never do that, and then we did it. Or I'll never do that again, and then we did it again. And now we're not feeling worthy of love because we've done things that we know God says don't do. Those are the reasons we believe this lie, I'm not worthy of love. We experience rejection. We know what it's like to feel guilty. But here's the reality. Even at the point where you feel most unworthy of love, God still calls you worthy. Let me say it again. Even at that point where you feel the most unworthy of love, God still calls you worthy. I'll give you a story about this. Jesus was walking in Samaria and went to a well, and there found a woman at the well. And this woman had already been rejected by other lovers. She had been with 5 other guys and now was not with her husband. And Jesus knew all this and still walked up to her. She felt like an outcast because she was not a Jew. She was a Samaritan, and the Jews looked down on the Samaritans. They didn't fit in. They weren't holy. They were a mixed breed. And Jesus comes to her and offers her a drink of living water. He's the one who says, woman, I am the Messiah, and gives to her the love that she has been looking for, to the degree that she went out and told everyone who this Messiah was, who Jesus was. That same God, even at our point of unworthiness, comes to us. Says, I love you. I mean, that's the gospel. God finding the unworthy and still calling them worthy of his love. The most beautiful gospel is Romans 5, verse 8, where it says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So basically, when we had nothing to give him, nothing that would make us worthy or accepted, he still said, you were worthy. And Jesus gave his life so that we could be forgiven. Today, what would it look like if you lived with this idea that you are worthy of God's love, that it wasn't going away? You could live knowing that regardless of how you look, whether you're wearing your PJs, whether you're happy with your body image, whether you got it all put together, you can know that regardless of how you look right now or how put together you think you are, you're loved by God. What this could mean for you is regardless of how well you're performing, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of how successful your company is, regardless of how powerful you are, the influence you have, you could know that you are loved despite what the world says. What it could also answer is those other rejections. Maybe you're living in a circumstance where because of sin, your circumstances aren't so good, and the world is definitely less forgiving than our God is. And even in the midst of those circumstances that were created by a sin, you could still know this is not the validity of heaven. Heaven still looks down, calls me forgiven, loved, and his child, even if I deal with the circumstances of my sin. What it means is that you have the right to peace every day, because the only one that matters, the only voice that'll matter for all eternity, looked at you in all your unworthiness and still called you worthy and loved. May you know this. And may you know it's not contingent on anything you have to do. It's all based on the love displayed in Jesus Christ. And may this give you peace today. You are loved, you've always been loved, and you will be loved in Jesus Christ our Lord. Hey, God bless the day. Thanks so much. Hi, Cheryl, Jan, Nancy. Good to see you all.